We are spending a week living with the Ford Escape Titanium, and this one is the plug-in hybrid. So I've had it plugged in, charging all day. Go ahead and plug it and see what kind of range we have. Charging door is right here on the driver's side. Go ahead and shut that. It's warm today. So we're 100% charged and it's showing 47 miles of pure electric range. It's like perfect timing right now to have a plug-in hybrid Escape because gas is like terrifyingly expensive right now, over $5 a gallon for regular fuel. We're gonna be testing out like around town regular driving, which I've been doing to and from work, where it's showing over 45 miles on pure electric range, and my commute is short enough where I can drive to work, plug it in, charge, drive home, and pretty much not use the engine or any gas whatsoever. But we'll also test out the longer range driving, a road trip. It's Father's Day weekend, and I'm gonna take the Escape back to Michigan to see my family and visit some friends, so we'll be taking on a couple hour drive where you're not plugging in every 20-30 miles just to charge it up again. So far I've driven it 54 miles, just under 54 miles, an average 437.9 mpg over 2 hours of driving, because most of it's been just to and from work where I just get to work and I just plug it in and charge it up. Well, you'll see in the corner it shows 525 miles of gas range, or is that combined? I think that's gas because it hasn't changed at all as I've been driving in pure electric mode, and fully charged it's showing 46 miles of range. It's also quite warm out today, 97 degrees Fahrenheit. It's toasty. Made it back home. Did the whole drive home in pure electric mode, so the MPG went up even higher. A ridiculous 537.3 MPG. It's just basic math because the 66 miles I've driven, 63 are pure electric, so it multiplies out to just an insane 537 MPG. 24 miles of pure electric range remaining. You'll see the gas range has stayed stationary at 525 miles. Once I start driving longer term without recharging it on a highway trip, that number should come to something that's a little more normal. Also, check this out. We have a heads-up display, so you can see it out there in the distance. But look at that piece of glass or plastic or whatever this is right here. There's a button on the steering wheel, and I can turn off the heads-up display, and this is how it works. It retracts. So I think it's really expensive to get the windshield set up where it projects onto the windshield. I assume that costs more because this is just a mainstream Ford Escape. This is the heads-up display solution. So now it's closed. If I press the button on the steering wheel again and turn on my heads-up display, that's actually kind of cool. Here we go. We have a heads-up display. The speed, it just shows your speedo and the speed limit. Center console over here has some storage space for phones, USB ports, this rotary transmission selector, which is shared in everything from this Escape to a Ford GT and a Shelby GT500. The same thing. Parking brake. This is the auto hold button. So you see in the corner it's active right now. When you come to a stop, you can take your foot off the brake and it holds it for you. A couple more modes. Oh, it must have auto park. But this one here, the EV button, it changes the priority. So all electric driving is what I was on right now because I wanted to drive home in pure electric mode, or can go to battery charge by engine, and you just turn on normal operation, just a combo of both, pure electric, or turn off system performance because I'm blasting AC, I think. It will request the engine. And then the third one is like saving your battery for later. And when you turn the car off, it presents a full trip summary on what your last drive was. 673.8 mpg. Also, charging time on both 120 volt and 240 volt. I've actually spent a lot of time with a plug-in hybrid. I had a BMW i8 for 2 years, and that was one of the earlier plug-in hybrids. Similar engine, could charge the battery, or it could run purely on electric mode, or you kind of run a combo of both. Obviously, the i8's like 4 times the price of an Escape, but similar sort of concept. And I liked it because it meant if you could plug in and charge, you could have pure electric range and go back and forth and not use gas. But if you're going on a long road trip, you don't have to sit there waiting for charging time. You just run the gas engine. If I came home for just 3-4 hours, I wouldn't really bother plugging the car in because the pure electric range wouldn't really be worth plugging it in and doing all that type of stuff. I was just driving on the gas engine. But if it was just short around town commutes, it was very useful. And this one has, I think, double the pure electric range of my i8, so obviously advancements are being made. Completely different segments of vehicles, but it's worth mentioning because they're both plug-in hybrid vehicles. With that, I gotta get inside, have a lot of work to do, got some videos to edit, organize some stuff, bunch of chores to do. We'll pick the video back up tomorrow of living with a Ford Escape Titanium plug-in hybrid. Front-wheel drive, PHEV. It's so humid outside right now that my camera lens is fogging up, but we can remote start up Ford Escape. You double tap that, And because it's a hybrid, it'll just use the batteries to start conditioning the interior, which is nice. The DRLs turn on. This one here is a titanium trim, so the upper tier trim. So the grille has these horizontal lines, which I like because it makes it look less like a fish's happy little face. Man, thing's going hard. Listen to that. Cool down the interior, please, because it is hot out now. Got the nicer wheels too. And this red paint is really nice, it pops. Come around back, here's just the refreshed Escape Titanium. We have the titanium badge here. We actually have dual exhaust pipes. And if you look, it actually has a real exhaust pipe coming through it. So in that regard, it has a more real exhaust than an Audi SQ5, which is completely fake. And then plug-in hybrid badge right there. So it looks like the car started back up in normal operation. So I'll put it back into all electric driving to make it do only EV. Because I have enough range to get to work. Showing 25 miles of electric range right now. So that doesn't make any sense. It just dropped from 50 to 49, but 100% charge, and it was showing 50, now 49 miles of range. This vehicle is rated at 38 miles of pure electric range, so that is hilariously optimistic. Just finished charging up, have to run out, do some errands. It's a beautiful day out today. Let's take a look at the window sticker. It's clearly a printed copy, but it's an Escape front-wheel drive. The plug-in hybrid is only available with front-wheel drive, no all-wheel drive. The paint color is Rapid Red Metallic Tinted CC, which I think is clear coat. Ebony over sandstone leather interior, and titanium is the upper tier trim. So it has a lot of options as standard. Base price is $38,885. Couple options. With destination, our final MSRP is $43,025. The options are the red paint, which is $395, and then the titanium premium package, which brings things like the panoramic roof, the wireless charging pad, $2,500 for a MSRP of 43 grand, which it gets really good fuel efficiency, but some of these interior materials and I don't like this trim. This is not a $40,000 interior from that regard. Yeah, not a huge fan of that aspect of it. The full digital cluster is nice, and it definitely is efficient. Look at what I've been driving. So that trip, 6 miles, burned down to 37 miles of range. So clearly that starting 49 was way too optimistic. Didn't make any sense. But 105 miles I've driven, 999.9 mpg. It's pretty much all electric. Now that's going to change pretty shortly as I drive all the way back to Michigan tonight, where I'm not going to stop and plug it in to recharge. I'm just going to drive. So we'll see what the hybrid efficiency is like. On the fuel economy ratings here, it says 105 mpge, which is like equivalent with the electric plug-in system. But gasoline only, it says 40 mpg combined city and highway, 40 miles per gallon. So we'll see what we're going to do on a long trip. I'll reset one of the trip computers, see how that does. But so far, driving the last 105.4 miles, 104.8 have been pure electric. So that's 999.9 mpg. So around town daily driving, if you're not going over 30 to 40 miles, you can pretty much not use gas. The fuel level is still at 526 miles, which actually went up 1 mile from when it was delivered. It was 525, but it's still at full. I haven't really used any gasoline at all this week. It's Friday night, and I have a 5-hour, 325-mile drive out to Michigan, and obviously not going to stop and charge. Right now, my trip computer is showing 123.9 miles driven, 123.4 of those were pure electric, 999.9 mpg. I'm going to reset the other one, and now we're going to test and see what the real-world fuel economy is going to be on a long-term drive when you're not stopping to charge, and you have to actually have that 2.5-liter four-cylinder kick in with the whole hybrid system. I'm actually genuinely quite surprised that I've used effectively no gasoline whatsoever for the last 125 miles of pure electric driving. That's the benefit of a plug-in hybrid if you have access to charging and you're not driving a far distance. So you'll see right there, trip computer 1. I'm gonna go ahead and reset the second one, and we'll see how it does. It's still showing 25 miles of pure electric range, but I predict that will go down. But it does have different modes in which I can do that's saving electricity for later, or I can charge the battery at the engine. But I'm just going to run a normal operation, see how it does. All right, so the electric range has dropped to 0. We've used up the batteries, and now we'll see what the fuel economy comes out to. So it used up about 21 miles of electric driving, 240 mpg still averaging. So that number obviously now begins to drop as we start using the gas engine. We'll see how it does. Just under a 5-hour drive, and I have made it. It's almost 1:45 a.m. Michigan time. Ended up being 315 miles, 45 of which were electric, and you'll see the range is still 0 because I was driving in normal mode. I didn't ask it to like charge the batteries. And fuel economy of 36.5 mpg, which is definitely a lot more realistic. Not quite the 40 combined because it was all freeway driving where you don't get the benefit of the electric assist. Overall average has dropped to a 50.8, which is, again, a realistic number where before it was 1000 mpg, which didn't really make much sense because it's just electric. Pretty good though. The Escape Titanium was a pretty good road trip car, actually. Efficient with the Ford Co-Pilot 360 driver assistant suite. It did a good job of lane centering with the lane keeping, also adaptive cruise control with stop and go. I hit a little bit of traffic and it handled it. You have to keep a hand on the wheel though. It's not a full hands-free system like Blue Cruise or the GM Super Cruise system. Sound system is pretty good, it's efficient. I had CarPlay running, so overall, it made for a nice trip, nice easy drive out to Michigan, and I am exhausted. So I'm gonna go inside, get some sleep. I got a busy weekend ahead. But there's a quick efficiency test of the Ford Escape Titanium plug-in hybrid. We will pick this back up towards the end of the weekend as we drive back to Chicago and continue up living with the Ford Escape Titanium plug-in hybrid. Such a long name.
Now that I've been living with the Escape Titanium plug-in hybrid for a couple of days, done around town driving, plugging it in, driving to work, and then a longer highway drive out to Michigan, let's give it a mini review, some of my thoughts. So this is the plug-in hybrid, which combines a 2.5 liter four-cylinder. It's a naturally aspirated four-cylinder, not an EcoBoost engine, with the hybrid assist. Has a 14.4 kilowatt hour battery pack, which leads to a EPA range of 38 miles pure electric. I have been able to achieve high 30s for sure, pure electric, and when driving around town to and from work, plugging in every day, I wasn't using any gas whatsoever. Now, on a longer highway drive, so far with 355 miles on this trip, 60 of which were electric miles, it's averaging 37 mpg, which is more real world just using the gas engine, which is closer to the rating of combined 40 mpg. And that's just full freeway cruising. I haven't stopped to plug this in to recharge it at all. In terms of charging times, on level 2, it'll replenish the battery in between 3.5 to 4.5 hours. On level 1, it takes much longer. It's so long that don't bother. If you have this, definitely get a level 2 charger because it's a lot quicker. The big problem for me with this titanium plug-in hybrid is the interior doesn't feel the price point. This plastic trim is really cheap. I don't like it. The seats are all right. It doesn't feel that premium. For like the Mach-E has a much nicer interior. It almost feels like this was almost forgotten a little bit. There are some nice touches. The Co-Pilot 360 is pretty good with the adaptive cruise control with stop and go, lane keeping. The implementation of a heads-up display is also pretty nifty. We do have Apple CarPlay. It's got the B&O sound system, but that being said, the B&O sound system, 8,500 miles in, the front speaker is crackly. When I have a phone call, it sounds really bad and distorted. And if the bass is on anything more than playing Beethoven, there's like a really bad vibration in the back corner there too. Now this could be an early production press vehicle. It's got 8,500 miles on it, which in press car terms I think is old. It's good technology. It's got some great innovations. It drives nicely. It's good for a road trip. I mean, like, I am not actually complaining taking this all the way to Chicago. I have a 4-hour drive ahead of me. But with the new electric Ford lineup, the Mach-E going really heavy in that Lightning now, it almost feels like this was a little forgotten. One other complaint is the fact that it's front-wheel drive only. You can't get an all-wheel drive for the plug-in hybrid. The other models, you can get all-wheel drive. So if you live somewhere cold, inclement weather, hilly terrain in the winter, going up and down mountains, all-wheel drive can be nice. Tires are more important. Absolutely have the right kind of tires, because all-wheel drive with the wrong tires is just all-wheel spin, and it's not like all-wheel drive ever helped you stop or turn. What's the final verdict on the Escape Titanium plug-in hybrid? One, the name is so long, there's so many words associated with it. If you live close to the office, you're doing a lot of around town city commuting, and you want something a little higher elevation, pretty practical, spacious, got a couple tech features, it's good. I went driving 125 miles without using any gas whatsoever, just plugging it in and driving it to work smooth. The powertrain handoff between electric to hybrid assist with the engine is pretty smooth too. The dash is very nice, so it's got nice features to it. But if you wanted to go all out into the electric space, something like the Mach-E or a Hyundai Ioniq 5 or any of the affordable level of pure electric vehicles, after tax credits, you may be pretty close in price compared to this. Oh, this might still qualify for the tax credit. Regardless, if you're looking for something just all around, it's all right. It's not the most competitive in my opinion. It was pretty good. Driving on the highway road trip was acceptable. That's what I'll say about it. Hope you guys enjoyed this vlog living with it. It was pretty cool getting to experience it around town, driving to and from work and heading out on a longer trip. It definitely handles everything really well. It's a good form of transportation, I'll say that. Thanks for watching.